Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another episode of the Kast. And today we have with us Arekkz. Arekkz, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. It's always good to be here. Thank you for having me. Glad to be back.
Thank you for making the time, dude. I know that you're having a pretty busy week. Things are pretty hectic because, you know, we're coming up on a couple of releases. I mean, specifically, we have like the network test for Elden Ring coming up, and we have the stuff coming up with Lost Ark that I know you're super excited for. And after, you know, whenever you put up your coverage, and wasn't it like 2017 when you put up your first like Lost Ark coverage or something?
I think it's been such I can't even remember it. I think it must have been around 2017, 2018. Yeah, like the Korean beta. It's a long time.
It was a long time ago, but basically that also got me pretty hyped up. So I'm very curious to test it out too. So
there is a gun lance in it, right? So
yeah, exactly.
A literal gun lance, not even like a slightly. It's just a gun lance.
The class is actually called the Gun Lancer, I think. Right?
Yep.
It's an advanced form of one of the other classes. But yeah, I'm super psyched for that. But today I called you here because we are coming up on the Elden Ring kind of like network test and stuff like that, which will be interesting for a lot of people. But I was curious if you are hyped up for Elden Ring. How hyped are you? Like, what is the thing that has you really excited about Elden Ring? Because we're going to be diving about your history with the Soul series, and I'm assuming that is somehow related to like Elden Ring and stuff like that. But feel free to correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, yeah, definitely. I'm super... The thing is, I'm super looking forward to Elden Ring regardless, but even before... remember before we got the gameplay trailer, and it was just like a super tease? I was almost even more excited because back then they were like, Souls meets Norse mythology, and I like my Norse mythology, right? And like, I don't know if the beard's a giveaway, but I was like, this is like me. I'll be honest, now I've seen the gameplay. I mean, I know there's obviously some of those influences, but it might not be it wasn't as, say, visually obvious as I might have thought. It's not like, say, Sekiro is like, okay, cool, Japanese influence kind of thing. I didn't sort of see it like, oh, there's like Vikings and Norse tribes walking down, but I'm sure there'll be a lot of that influence in the story. Or at least unless they change that and that was just a rumor. But either way, I mean, yeah, super excited for that. And just the sheer scale of it. I mean, it's just like, it's looking, it looks cool.
It's the first, technically speaking, they're saying that this is their first open world game, even though you can kind of consider like the original Dark Souls to also be an open world game because the world is essentially interconnected. It just doesn't have the traditional trappings that a lot of open world games have. Just like I don't think that Elden Ring is going to have. Like, I highly doubt that you're going to be climbing up a tower and then it's like, oh, now look at all these things popping up in the map.
Yeah,
I don't think that's how Elden Ring is going to work. That's not really Miyazaki's style, right?
No. You'll climb a tower and get kicked off instead. Like, that's what you get. No,
this is an Assassin's Creed. And the best part is there's not going to be like a cart with a bunch of hay on it for you to land on. It's just going to land on a spike or something. And like,
or it'll be a cart with skeletons in, just like, these are the people that tried to be like Altair, and then this is what you get. Like, this is the wrong game. Go back to Assassin's Creed.
So, when did you first play your very first Souls-like game?
So, I always get this confused, right? Because I remember when I did my Demon Souls remaster playthrough, and I was referencing some things that I did before, and I thought I convinced myself it was Demon Souls that I first played. Because basically, the reason this happened is like one of my friends, one of my best mates, like he's a huge Souls fan. So like obviously back in the day, he'd be like, "You should check this game out." So I thought it was Demon Souls, but I think it might actually been Dark Souls 1, like one of those two. I just remember at the beginning, like, I do remember the big guy that you fight at the very beginning of Demon Souls. The one that you're supposed to not fight, that you're just supposed to run out the door, basically, because he just destroys you.
That's Dark Souls.
Okay, right. There we go. Okay. See, I always get these confused, right?
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
It's like, so because you don't have your weapon yet, and you're supposed to run past him to then go get your weapon. That's the one you're talking about?
That's it, yeah. Okay, so Dark Souls 1.
That's Dark Souls 1, yes.
Because basically my experience for that was that I was like, all right, my friend's really into this, so I'm gonna try and get it. You know, I'll pick up the game, I'll follow his recommendation. Started playing through the first bit. I did that. I died many times just to random skeletons. Then I remember going to the bridge and getting burned because I tried to cross the bridge and the dragon was like, "You're not going anywhere." But I did remember, I did Google to find the thing where if you shoot the dragon in the tail with a bow, it drops a really powerful weapon.
Yeah,
which I did.
That's definitely Dark Souls 1, yeah.
Yeah, but then I got to the point where I was like, I got as far as this area where I would go into the sewers, I get poisoned by the rats, I didn't have an antidote, so I go back to the campfire to heal, then I go back to the sewers, get poisoned again, go back and I was like, I was like, I hate this game, so I put it down.
Yeah, Dark Souls. It's like Dark Souls is one of those things that you have to kind of be prepared for what's coming,
Mm.
and it is kind of a little bit. It's a little bit punishing if you don't know exactly what to do, exactly what to expect. Like I kind of knew what I was going in for because I had played Demon Souls before. As a matter of fact, Demon Souls is one of the reasons why I got a PlayStation 3. So I was just like, oh, dude, Demon Souls is amazing. Dark Souls is going to be amazing. But I've made even worse mistakes than you did. Like before I even got to the bridge, because by the time you get to the bridge, you've already defeated the first boss. You've killed Taurus Demon, which is the big demon with the axe. Maybe you don't remember him.
Yeah. Because you know how do you know how, this is how much of a Dark Souls like noob I was, right? The way I defeated him, because he's the one like there's like a walkway you go down, right? And
Yeah,
there's like
exactly.
so I climbed on the roof, I dropped off and I plunge attacked him, climbed up the roof again, dropped off and plunge attacked him,
Dude.
and I kept on.
Let me tell you something. That is exactly how you're supposed to do that fight.
Oh, good. I thought I was like, oh yeah, I'm just really inexperienced, so I'm just gonna cheese it. I thought I was like clever or something.
That's exactly how you're supposed to do that fight.
Oh.
Like I didn't do it like that. I didn't figure that out the first time that I went in there. Let me tell you, because like you think you were a noob when you did it. Let me tell you exactly how I did Taurus Demon my first time, which was not recorded because I was just like playing by myself. But a friend of mine, we were both playing side by side. We weren't playing like in co-op, but we were playing side by side. And my friend, he went with the pyromancer, so he just burned the Taurus Demon down and then kept going. So I'm not playing a pyromancer, so I'm like, well, what can I do? Well, I have these bombs. There's a merchant that sells these bombs, and if you go to a certain spot within that dragon that burns the bridge, you can go up there and then just immediately run back down. He'll do a flyby, burn the bridge, kill everyone, and you get the souls. So I farmed souls that way, and then I would go to the merchant to buy fire bombs, and then I would go to Taurus Demon to kill him with fire. So you think you were a noob when you went through Dark Souls?
Okay. Oh dear. Okay, right. That makes me feel better because I was just like, yeah. Although I thought I was a noob, but I also thought it was kind of ingenious. I was like, no one's gonna think of this. I'm gonna do this. This is me. Yeah.
It is a good idea because it's not necessarily the only way to kill him. You can just fight him straight up if you want to. You can dodge, you can do all kinds of things, but that is one of the ways that they put in the game that lets you kill him in an easier way. Because you can just like plunge attack. And they teach you that if you think about it, because the first time that you go into the Northern Undead Asylum and you run past the demon that's there, they then teach you about the plunging attack from the top to hit that demon so that you know when you get to the Taurus Demon. Like it's interesting because when you start thinking about it, like everything just kind of makes sense in Souls games, and people a lot of times don't actually see it, which is why I just like that to bring that type of stuff up. So you kind of gave up because you're like, okay, this is too punishing. I'm kind of done with it, and you know you moved on to something else. So
exactly.
I think that's fine because I feel like even just recently I had the discussion with AJ. I'm not sure if you've seen that, but like I had a discussion with AJ about his Dark Souls experience, and I was told by a lot of people that they were expecting me to come in with like an elitist attitude and be like, noob, get good. And it's like, I never think that that's like a good way to go about it. Like one of the things that I used to do back in the channel when I first started it was actually, I tried telling people the game is not as hard as you think. And here's why. Here's like a couple of things that you can do. You know, the same way that we make videos about weapons for Monster Hunter and whatnot, I do something similar to that to get people into the game. That was always my objective. But so after that, you know, I'm assuming that you took a break from Souls games because you were just like, okay, these games are just not for me, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I took a break from there. I don't think I bothered with Dark Souls 2.
That was a good decision.
Okay, cool. But then it came to the thing is I did the exact same thing with Dark Souls as I did with Monster Hunter, because my very first time playing Monster Hunter, I played Freedom second and was like, why is this chicken, Yankaku, not dying after 30 minutes of hitting its legs? I'm like, this game is rubbish. So I put it down. And then I came back, and then with Monster Hunter I did the same thing. I was like, no, I want to understand why people like this game. And the same thing happened with Dark Souls. I was like, when Dark Souls 3 came out, I was like, I really want to understand why people like this game. I didn't actually play it when it first came out. I played it like a little bit later. But again, like, because my friends are like really into the series and like they were talking about it and stuff. I was like, I'm gonna give it another try. I'm gonna just try and understand this. And then it clicked. Like it wasn't quite straight away. And I found there's a funny thing with me in Dark Souls games where the first boss, irrespective, generally speaking, or like Souls games in general, the first boss generally speaking, will obliterate me so many times, and I will die and a lot of the time people will be like, that boss is easy, that's like the tutorial boss, and I will die like so many times, but then afterwards, most bosses I'll then just like start to get in a few attempts for the most part. So that happened with like Dark Souls. I was fighting the Dark Souls 3, the like lightning, is it a lightning wolf or something or whatever it is, the thing at the beginning, the dog,
lightning wolf.
Pretty sure it was lightning. There's like, it's in the castle area, and there's like a headed beast. Is it a dog or a wolf or something?
I actually don't remember which one that might be. Like you're actually like throwing me off a loop here. Let me very quickly Google that, because I'm like, what the hell? A beast of some kind? Let me see. Dark Souls 3 bosses.
Unless I just fought it in the wrong order.
No, you might have fought something in the wrong order. Let me see. We have Yodex Gandir, Vort to the Boreal Valley. I mean, it's not a dog. It's like is it a knight that's like just hunched up on all fours with a mace?
Maybe it was. What's his name?
His name is Vort of the Boreal Valley. I mean, I don't really have like a screenshot of him or anything.
Oh yeah, that's him. All right, I thought it was a dog.
So he has some. So it's not lightning. He has something that freezes you. So I would have never gotten there by that description. I'm like,
okay.
What, a dog with lightning? That's weird.
Clearly, my memory is scarred.
Yeah, but yeah, he's basically a knight. He jumps around on all fours, and he has like some ice mechanic that I remember. The ice mechanic was actually quite unique because I think it punished you in your stamina or something like that. I forget. But yeah, you got to that one. What, you beat him first try?
No. So this guy, right? So this is the thing where it's like I get to him and this is the cool thing as well. This is one thing. I think this is partly the reason, and I owe it to the Soulsborne community for like why I stuck with this game, because I was streaming. I decided to stream my entire playthrough, partly because I was like, if I stream it, it will prevent me from being allowed to get angry. So because I was like, I can't possibly. I've got to remain professional. So it helped contain the rage.
So let me just very quickly bring up one thing, and that is that streaming a Souls game is in a lot of ways it's a double-edged sword. Because in one way, you're going to be motivated to follow through because, there's people watching and they want to see you follow through. And they're also going to like cheer you on along the way. In another way, it might cause what I believe is what happened to AJ, because he finished Dark Souls 1 and his last tweet that he put about it was like, I felt nothing. And it's like, you can get yourself into a point where you're kind of burned out of the game and you're like, I just want to finish it. I just want it to be over. And then you walk away with the worst experience. But that wasn't the case for you then.
No, for me, like, it was really good because I had like people were being super chill in chat, and I specifically said like, I've never played this game before. I'm a noob to the series, but I don't want to be like, when I started to lose the boss, I was like, I don't want to be told like when I die, even if I die 10, 20 times, unless I expressly say like, how do I do this? Please don't say anything. And people in chat were so respectful. They were just like, okay, cool. And then it's funny because right at the beginning, so many like Souls players were coming in and be like, I actually really like watching this because it's not often you get to watch someone that's never played Souls games before. They're like, I'm just so used to like watching people that just know how to play it. So they're like, it's really fun to watch you like get better. So yeah, that guy, I mean, I can't remember exactly, but like I did basically cut up on YouTube. There is my entire playthrough, like hypercut. So, and I didn't avoid or hide any deaths. So there is an actual, at some point I should go back and find actual death count. I think my whole Dark Souls 3 playthrough, I think was 143 deaths.
That's actually not that much if it's your first time.
41 of those were on the Nameless King. But anyway, we'll get to that later. Later. But yeah, so this, I mean, I feel like I must have died to this guy probably 12, 15-ish times. And it's weird because in these games, I do the get greedy thing, right? I'm like, his life bar's low. I'm just going to try again. And it's like, no. And it's so funny because that guy, he's very, when you look back at it afterwards, he's so telegraphed. Like he hasn't got many moves that are very complex. So it's weird that it took me so long because the same thing happened. I don't know if you saw like my Demon Souls playthrough, but like we did this like the Team Reacts one where the guys like laugh at my attempt to fight them, and I fought the Shield Knight, and I swear the Shield Knight I must have died to about
the Tower Knight.
Yeah, the Tower Knight about 15 times. And it's so simple, just run behind him and hit him in the ankles. But I made this thing like ridiculously difficult. But yet the second boss I went to, I did it like third try. I was like, it's weird.
But so you finally that's when it clicked for you then, when you were fighting Vort to the Boreal Valley in Dark Souls 3, you're just like, I like this. That's kind of when it clicked for you. You just like kept on going and you decided that you would complete it.
I think
Yeah.
so, because I think I did that fight, and then I was getting internally frustrated, but again I was streaming, so I was keeping it professional, and I was internally getting pretty frustrated, but then I finally did it, and I had that feeling of just like, no game has given me this feeling before, where like I've consistently died, and suddenly I'm like, oh my gosh, I actually feel like, I feel amazing having taken down this boss, because it's just like, and then I was like, I want more of this, and then I just carried on. So I'd say from that point, it clicked, and it was quite fun again, because I would continue fighting through, and there were a couple of bosses that would come up, and people, they wouldn't give me hints, but they'd be like, oh, this boss is gonna be tough, like everyone always fails this boss like so many times, and one of them, I think I did it second try, and they were like, wait, what? I was like, I don't know. Although I will say, there was one thing that I did have for the whole playthrough, right? And people allowed me for it, but occasionally a couple of elitists came in and just like mocked me for it. I'm gonna get the name wrong, but I used like the Dark Blade, the single-handed. It's apparently a really powerful single-handed sword.
The sword from the. I think I know which the sword from the Dark Wraiths, right?
Yes,
they have like a skeleton face. Yeah.
Yes. So I got that,
it's like,
and I ran with it for ages.
Let me tell you something. There's a couple of people that are elitists in the Souls community, like, well, you're not supposed to use this. This weapon's too powerful. And it's like, listen, as far as I'm concerned, if it's in the game, it's in the game. You use what is in the game, and that's it. Like, I had a friend of mine, I always tell this story. I had a friend of mine that the idea was he had never played Dark Souls. So I was going to not really sit next to him because he's in Seattle in America, but like I was going to basically watch him play through the game. And I wasn't going to guide him at all, but I was going to explain to him every possible mechanic that you would need to know. So like, you want to know how you can get this weapon to deal more damage? You enchant it. You put more points into strength. You put more points in dexterity. That type of stuff, right? Basic stuff. Tell him about invincibility frames, fast roll, fat roll, all of these different things. And one of the points that I was trying to make with that playthrough is to tell people this game is not hard if you understand how the game works. And this friend of mine was very lucky, got like the super powerful weapon early on in the game. And then when he got to like what is considered one of the walls of the game, which is Moin Ornstein, he just went in there and one-shot both of them, and everybody's like, what the hell? What? Like, people were actually mad in chat, and I'm just like, this is funny as hell to me, because like this just proves my point. These games aren't hard so long as you know what you're doing. So yeah, I don't think you should ever consider like, well, I kind of like, I cheese things because I use the dark. That weapon, let me tell you right now, is not even that powerful. It's powerful, yeah, but it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I mean, I leveled it as far as I probably could, and then towards the end of the game, I still swapped it out anyway, like in the end. But yeah, it was. But I mean, most people were kind of cool about it anyway, because it's funny as well, because I, despite the fact that I am a sword and shield main in Monster Hunter, I ran with a sword and shield in Dark Souls, but I never used the shield. Right? I
never parried?
Well, so first thing you need to know about me, right? Anyone that knows me on my channel will know that me and parrying, like oil and water, they just don't mix at all. Like I cannot parry to save my life.
But wait a minute, you like Metsu Shoryugeki?
Oh yeah, but that's easy. But that's the parry window is so big for that.
That's a harder parry window than a lot of parries in Dark Souls. Well, you see, let me tell you what the problem is for people that play Dark Souls and maybe they're trying to figure out how to get better at parrying. Let me tell you what the problem is in most Souls games. The way that you parry in Souls, you don't parry the enemy's weapon. You parry the enemy's hand. Does that make sense?
Huh.
You look at the enemy's hand where it is, and you parry his hand, not his weapon. That's how you get the parries down in Dark Souls. In case you guys didn't know, that's like a little hack that you can kind of, because like I'll tell you right now, it is actually easier to parry in Dark Souls than it is to land Metsu Shoryugeki, and at the same time, it is easier to use iframes in Dark Souls than it is in Monster Hunter with Evade Window 5.
Huh. The iframes I can deal with, because that's the thing, because that's how I went into it. I was like, I'm a Monster Hunter player, so I spec'd into a lot of health and a lot of stamina, and I just rolled all the time. I rolled, like, literally, if in doubt, roll. I had a shield, and people were like, why have you got a shield when you're just not using it? I was like, well, look, right? Here's my
you weren't even blocking.
I wasn't even blocking. I very rarely, because I was like, well, look, right? If I parry and I mess it up, in this game, it's punishing, I'm dead.
Oh, yes.
So I'm like, well, if I don't parry and I just roll, I've got a better chance at surviving. So I very rarely used it, and only towards the end. I think it's when I was fighting the Nameless King, because I kept on just messing up like one of the particular eye throws. They were just like, just block. So I started to block, but like, yeah, for a long time I just didn't even use it. I just carried the shield for basically might as well be fashion.
That is incredibly funny to me that you would actually run sword and shield and not use the shield, because you see, I received the exact opposite criticism, which is I would block everything. I just go up to anything and I'll just like keep blocking. I'll usually pick up shields that are not like heavy shields, because the heavy shields won't let you parry, and I always like having the option, but I will pick up shields that have high stability that let you block lots of stuff. And I would just I'd block everything, and people are like, God damn it, Rui, it's so boring to watch you play. You block everything. It's like, well, yes, it's very safe.
I don't want to die.
It feels nice sitting here behind my shield, which there's also elitist people that will go like, oh my God, this guy's so boring. He's just blocking everything. Well, yeah, exactly, because I don't care.
I mean, if it works, right?
Yeah, exactly, because that is the point with most Dark Souls games. It's like they make those games in a way where, to me, they do those games in a way where it's like almost anything goes, unless you can tell that, okay, I'm actually cheating now. Anything else, like if you can, hit an enemy from afar with a bow and you can mess him up real bad before he gets to you, like that's fair game. Like as far as I'm concerned, that's fair game. Like to give you an idea, in Demon Souls, there's also a dragon that goes through a bridge and flies and burns the whole bridge. You've probably seen this because you played Demon Souls. You went to the tower.
I got burned by it many times.
Yeah. So in case you didn't know, you can actually go up to one of those towers where that dragon goes through, and you can kill him by shooting arrows at him.
Oh.
That's actually programmed in the game. You get like 10,000 souls for doing that. It takes a long time. You don't really get a whole lot of rewards, but you kill him and he's gone forever from the game, because like there are other places where that dragon shows up in Boletaria, and if you kill him there, he's gone forever. He just never shows up in the game again.
Okay, yeah, because I saw him in another place when I went outside the castle, and then like I went down to try and pick up an item, and then he just burned me to a cinder. The thing is, I miss out on a lot of these things in Souls games as well, because I'm a melee guy, right? I don't like ranged weapons. I don't like magic. I don't like anything like that. I'm just like, I just want to hit things with a sword. So people are like, oh, yeah, but if you have a bow, I'm like, I don't want to shoot anything. And they're like, yeah, but if you have magic, I don't want to do magic. I just want to hit things and I want to roll. That's me. So I feel like there's a very small portion of the game that I use because I'm just like, no.
I mean, you're a man after my own heart. I feel the same way. I mostly just do melee stuff, which people are always asking me, Rurikhan, won't you do a magic playthrough? And I'm like, but spells are limited. They end. And then I just end up doing melee anyway.
Exactly. I'd rather spec into something that will never go away.
Exactly. It's just like, see, guys, we're just like thinking, it's almost like we're thinking about the environment, right? We're not wasting things. Our things are built to last.
Precisely, right? That's why I'm not a gunner in Monster Hunter. I'm not going to waste time on bullets. You must be mad.
That is a very good point. So, in Dark Souls 3, did you play the DLC as well, or did you only play like the base game? Because there were two DLCs.
Yeah, no, I always meant to go back because I enjoyed it so much, and then when it came out, it was always my intention to do it. But I've never actually had a chance to go back and play them, unfortunately.
Okay, so what other boss stood out to you? I mean, besides the Nameless King, because that's like a whole adventure in and of itself. But is there any other boss that kind of stood out to you, or like a specific zone that you thought, oh, this zone looks really, really cool?
So, boss-wise first, there was the funny one where, there's I hope I'm not describing it the wrong way again. There's a really big dragon where you're supposed to go up really, really high and drop and just plunge onto it and kill it.
Yes.
I managed to somehow mess up the plunge the first time and just fall off and just die. They were just like, you just need to jump off and plunge in the chat. And I was like, okay. And I was like, why did it not work? Like, I don't know. It should just be press the button. Like, well, it didn't work, so I had to go back and do that again. But I think my favorite area was the kind of like the snowy area. Like you walk out. Is it like, oh no, not maybe it's not snow. It's like is it?
The snowy area was one of the DLCs, so I'm a little bit confused.
Okay, maybe it's not snow. It felt like snow. I walked out of this area, and then there's like a long bridge that I go across. There's a lot of the bridge that you go across. There's like I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what this was after the boss that's like a big skeleton that comes out of the darkness and kind of like scares you. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That was, I forget the name of that place, but that's one of the most beautiful places in Dark Souls.
I had so many screenshots there, except it was nice. But then when I got into the town and started to fight just the general mobs, those
Not
things,
so nice.
No, I kid you not. Every time I tried to get to the boss, I died more times just getting. That was one of the areas I got really frustrated because I spent more time dying just getting to the boss than at the boss itself. I was like, I hate these guys. I hate them. The area looks nice, but no.
That is like, I feel, one of the balancing acts that Dark Souls always has to do, and that is to balance between how hard is it for me to just get back to this boss? Because there are several situations throughout the Souls games in which that balance was terrible. And I'll tell you right now, in one of the DLCs of Dark Souls 2 in particular, there was this one thing that it was so egregious that it completely ruined my whole experience of the boss, because there were these annoying enemies that would have, like, on top of it, they had long swords, okay? They had these really big katanas, okay? They had these really big katanas, and this is a place where basically you would have to run to get to a boss, and the boss fight was amazing. It was, his name was Aloni or whatever it was, and he was just like a dude with a really big katana, but the problem was, in order for you to fight him again, like if you had failed to fight, you'd have to go through this place that had a ton of these other knights that had these really long swords, and you would not be able to run past them without getting hit. Like, there's a chance, like a very small chance, that you'd be able to do it every now and then, but I got so frustrated that I just summoned up 2 NPCs, killed everything in my path, got to the boss, killed him with the NPCs, and I was like, and now you're dead. There you go. That's what you get. But it's like, that's a balance that I kind of feel like they always need to strike. But having said that, I think that in that area, there's like a specific shortcut that you might have missed, because that's always what Souls is about as well, is figuring out different shortcuts so that you can run to the bosses faster and whatnot.
Yeah, that's true.
And that boss was not an easy one either, because he was the one with the 2 swords. I forget his name.
Oh, yeah, the flaming sword and like the blue sword, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. That was crazy. I liked fighting was it the old Demon King as well, like the fiery guy?
Yeah. He was the old Demon King, yeah.
Yeah, so he was cool. Yeah, those were definitely like the standout, I think the standout ones. And then it's funny because the final boss, I think I did it, I want to say second or third try.
He's not particularly hard, no.
Yeah. I just thought he was. It's funny because I just thought like, oh, final boss, like especially having done Nameless King before that, I was like, oh, final boss is going to be insane. And then when I did the first thing, I was like, oh, he's got another phase. And I was like, oh, this is going to be one of those horrible things. But in actual fact, it wasn't too bad.
No, the Nameless King, I think, is like the hardest thing in that game. Well, before the DLCs, anyways, because after the DLCs, that's a whole different conversation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but he was such a cool fight though, because it's like because you go into the area, and I can't. There was also one of those things where I vaguely remember, in order to get access to it, you have to pull a lever, right? And then like the mist kind of comes around this area, and then the draw. But then I think it was one of those times where, because of a Twitch delay, people were like, I was walking through this area, and then I went to pull the lever, and people were like, don't pull that yet, because otherwise you can't go forward. And then it was like, too late, I've done it now. And they're like, well, now you've got to fight the Nameless King. So then I just went into it. And then I think my first stream, I think I did it and died about 20 times. And then I was like, I need to just take a break. So it actually took me 2 streams to do that one. And then coming back to that was quite daunting, because every single time, like at first I'd get the first phase down and I'd be like, get him off. But then he'd like throw flipping lightnings and stuff. And I could not dodge it. And I kept on like getting it really wrong. But then, yeah, finally, I think towards the end of it, I think I actually just dropped the shield and had like a two-handed weapon, because I was just going for like big single hits and just like chipping away at him like that. But yeah, that was definitely my proudest moment. That was such a cool fight.
But see, that's exactly because this was one of the comments that I got a lot in my previous video with Hey Jay, is people saying, I don't understand what it is about Dark Souls. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you about it. I just want to talk more about Dark Souls to hopefully explain to people what it is that, we get out of Dark Souls when everything clicks. And it's exactly the thing that you just said. It is the feeling of achievement, of overcoming something, of like something that it seems like it's impossible to. The first time that you fight it, you're like, there's no way. Like I can't figure this out. There's absolutely no way. But after a couple of attempts and you actually mastering the fight, you start seeing the kinks in the armor, and you start chipping away at it slowly, and then eventually you do kill it. And that's like just an amazing feeling. It's like super rewarding. At least that's the way that I look at it. And that's the thing that really keeps me going in Souls games, is just like the feeling of achievement that you get after beating something that seems like it's going to be completely impossible.
Yeah, I mean, no, that is exactly the same. It's like I've been playing games like all my life. I play like games for like 30 years, and literally no other game. Like my favorite game series is Zelda. I play Monster Hunter, but no other game, not even Monster Hunter, not even when you take down like Fatalis or anything like that. No other game has like Fatalis is good,
yeah.
right? Like
Fatalis and Elatreon, I feel like did a really good job of bringing that feeling to the table as well.
They definitely brought that to the table, and it definitely was challenging. But no other game, for me personally, ever has given me that feeling that I get in a Souls game specifically for when I defeat a boss. Because every other game, like generally speaking, you might die to a boss a couple of times, and you see the pattern, and you're like, all right, cool, fair enough. Even like Fatalis, it's like, okay, cool, we were died a few times because just like learning mechanics and stuff, and then when you get through, like it was a cool feeling. Don't get me wrong, when we finally like downed it, like it was epic. But for me, nothing can kind of match that feeling in like a Souls game, because it's just it's just you go in and like you are expecting to die, and as you say, like it is literally like I don't know how I'm even gonna hope to gather this, like deal with this one, and then slowly you do that, and it's just the feeling is unmatched.
So one of the discussions that sometimes gets brought up, particularly got brought up again when Sekiro was released, and I'm sure it's going to get brought up when Elden Ring gets released, is like, do you think that an easy mode would be something that you would like in a game like this?
I mean, here's the thing. Like my approach to this thing is always like, I mean, I wouldn't want it because like I like the challenge that I get from those things, but I also feel like I'm always happy for like more people to play and experience games, and I know that in Souls games, the challenge, of course, is part of what makes the games. But at the same time, if you do strip away the challenge, there is also just a fantastic game beneath it. It's got fantastic mechanics, fantastic environments, lore, and everything like that. There's lots for people to experience. So for me personally, like my approach to that stuff is always just like, if you want to add something in that lets more people experience your game, I have no issues, as long as it means that I can still play the game in like default mode, which is just like get your butt kicked a million times. If they wanted to add like an extra option for like people to play to make it more accessible, it's not hurting me, right?
Okay, well, I'm stopping this recording. I'm never talking to you again. That's what people expect to happen nowadays on the internet when two people disagree with something. I don't really agree with that point.
Okay, fair enough.
I just want to tell you why, because the thing to me is always like, I feel like there's a million games that have easy modes. And the problem with the games that have easy modes is that when you crank the difficulty higher, what you end up getting is usually just like bloated HP, bloated damage.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not particularly fun. And I find that these Souls games, they do the balance, they strike that balance so well in most cases that it's like, look, there's maybe a dozen games that strike balance as well as Souls games do. And there's like literal millions of games that have easy modes. So to me, my approach to that is kind of like, let me just have this one game and do not put an easy mode on it, because that is going to take away development time. That is going to do. I think accessibility is something that people bring up, and I'm like, yes, accessibility, give people a million different ways to control your character, give people a million different ways to be able to play the game. Yes, 100%, 1,000%, high contrast modes, additional audio variations like they did in like The Last of Us 2 and stuff like that. Like all of those things, yes. The easy mode, I feel like, is a problem because there will be players that, like you, they get to the Nameless King, and they're like, there's no way I'll ever be able to do this, and they bump down the difficulty, and they never even try. And then they never even get that feeling that you get of like, oh yeah, did it, right? That's why. That's why I'm kind of like not in favor of the.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I can definitely understand that. And to be honest, it's an interesting one because I'm definitely, I feel like realistically speaking, I would straddle the fence in this discussion because I feel like I have in times in the past, like when Sekiro came out, similar kind of things, people were like the easy mode discussion came up, and I feel like back in the day, my initial reaction was always like, it doesn't need an easy mode, like it's what Souls games are for, like Souls is known for just being difficult, like it is what it is. I think, yeah, so I don't know categorically whether, like, I definitely feel like I'm closer to being on the fence on this one. I think my main approach, generally speaking, to most games is, like, if there are ways for people to enjoy it and it doesn't detract from the overall experience, like you said, like, if it doesn't end up being, like, in order to create an easy mode, therefore the other mode is just, like, stupidly bloated or, like, ridiculous, you know what I mean? Like, so, like a weird imbalance. Like, if they found a way to do that, like in a way that is applicable to Souls, like maybe their version of an easy mode is just that like I don't know, you have like 5 more Estus flasks or like 10 more, like just so you can heal like a little bit more, but then like fundamentally everything is still the same. Like if they found a way to allow players to do that, I wouldn't be against it because we had a similar kind of discussion when like Monster Hunter First, like when Monster Hunter World came out, and a lot of the like, you know, elitists were just like, oh, I can't believe you can go back to the camp and you can get more potions, and it's like, well, just don't use it if you don't want to.
I can't believe that either. God damn it.
Yeah. It was like all those things like that. I've basically just always been in the mind of like, if as long as I can still experience the game the way that I want to play it, and these new additions haven't changed my experience, then I'm okay. But I do see your point that like Souls is definitely one of those games that part of the charm is overcoming that. And if you do allow someone to just go in and be like, because otherwise you can't have that same discussion. Imagine if we had a podcast and I was like, yo, I played an easy mode and I defeated Nameless King first time, and you're like, well, it took me 43 tries. Like, well, you know, we can't have that same discussion. So I definitely agree that part of the discourse for Souls is just like overcoming that. So I honestly don't know what the answer is. Like, if there's a way to maybe the answer, like you mentioned, maybe the answer is just more accessibility options, but it isn't an easy mode. Like I'm not a developer. I'm not sure what that would even look like.
Yeah.
I just want more people to play Dark Souls games and not
exactly
look at them and be like, I'm so scared. It's like they're actually really good. Just don't mind dying a bit.
It's exactly that, and like you said earlier, like the community, because the community a lot of times gets chastised for like being elitist and all that, but you actually experienced the different part of the community where people were super excited to like watch you play through the thing and to kind of like revisit, because at the end of the day, there is one thing about Souls games, which is you can never, after you've done your first playthrough, right, you know exactly what expects you if you go in again in New Game Plus or then. I mean, sometimes there's a couple of surprises in New Game Plus, like in Dark Souls 2, they did some stuff with that. But like most of the times you play through the game once and maybe there's a zone you miss and you go back and you play that, whatever. But you play through it once. And then after that, you can never have that blind experience again. And living vicariously through others is kind of a way to experience that. And that is, I feel, what you've gotten with people that were watching you play Souls. And it's just one of those things that I feel like a lot of people actually enjoy, that watching someone go through Souls the very first time is a very magical thing.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that, because I mean, similar sort of thing to like, you know, one of my favorite games is Breath of the Wild, right? And I loved watching people that were like, I never played it at launch, and they'll be streaming it, and like for the first time they're just wandering around like learning how to just solve shrines and stuff, and it's just fun just watching people just like the cogs just work in someone's head. So yeah, I can definitely get that.
So now it makes me curious though, because you went Dark Souls 1 and then Dark Souls 3, but you entirely skipped Bloodborne, and I need to ask why. I
think it's just one of those things. Like literally, it was no actual like. It was not a case of like I have the option to play, I just don't want to play. It's literally just like I think it was just a time thing. Like it must have either come out or been out at a time when like I was busy with something else. Like, you know what? I have the Soulsborne curse as well. Every time historically, since I've liked since I like Dark Souls 3, I've convinced myself like I like these kinds of games. I've gone on to play Nioh 1, Nioh 2, I played Mortal Shell, I played Sekiro, I know I should go and play Bloodborne, but I was so I played like a lot of them, but they always come out and coincide with another big release that I have to cover. Like it'll either be like a Monster Hunter or something else, but like Sekiro came out and I can't remember what it was, but there was something else that came at the same time, so I couldn't dedicate time to it.
Sekiro,
Dark Souls Dark Souls 3 came out obviously at a time when I didn't play it at launch anyway, so I played it late. And then
I wonder what came out at exactly the same time as Bloodborne, because I don't remember. I mean, there's probably something. It's just, to me, it was just weird because I know that you probably know people at Sony, because you're always like giving out PlayStation 4s and whatnot, right? It's like... So it's like I would imagine that they probably sent you a code, and it's just something that makes me wonder, because here's the thing: Bloodborne, I almost feel like, is the closest that you can get to Monster Hunter when it comes to Souls games.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, because is that because it's more offense based?
Yeah, it's much more offensive. So like, for starters, you don't have shields. I mean, there are 2 shields in the game, but they're not actually meant to be used. They're kind of like, one of them can be used in certain situations, but the other one is literally just a joke. There's even like flavor text in there that's like, shields engender passivity or something like that. Like, and I'm just like, why are you insulting shields? I like shields. Stop that from software. But like, so instead of a shield, what they give you is a gun. So you get a weapon and a gun, and the gun you use it to like parry enemies with it, and it's just like super, super satisfying. So I can't recommend that you play Bloodborne enough. Probably more than any other Souls game, more than Demon Souls, more than Dark Souls 1. Even though Dark Souls 1 is my favorite Souls game, but like for you being like a huge fan of Monster Hunter, and anyone that's a fan of Monster Hunter, maybe you've played a different Dark Souls game before. But it's like Bloodborne is like the closest thing that you can get to it because it is very offensive. There's even a mechanic in there where say like an enemy will hit you. And so, like in fighting games, when you get hit, like you'll get that red gauge that can regen a little bit. So you get that too. In Bloodborne, difference is there's a little time where after you get hit, you can attack the monster and you leech that red portion of your life back. So you're basically... that greed that we have, this game rewards you for it. It like rewards you for being greedy. Sometimes it punishes you as well because like, are you being greedy? Let me just go ahead and kill you then so that you learn your place.
You're going to learn today. I realized I just checked the dates. I now have the answers to why it is because so I played Dark Souls 3 late. Like so funnily enough, we have Bloodborne content on the channel, right? Because I remember back when it came out, my friend, the one that got me into Souls games, he basically like helped us make some Bloodborne videos on the channel at the time. So he just recorded it and made those videos. But it was the year after that I played Dark Souls 3. So I played Dark Souls 3 5 years ago and Bloodborne came out 6 years ago. So that's why. So I hadn't found my love for Dark Souls or the Soulsborne series until after Bloodborne. And then since then I haven't gone back. That's why. That's why. Because I always wondered that. Everyone's always like, why have you not played Bloodborne? I was like, I'm not actually sure. And I was like, that's why.
It hadn't clicked for you back then, But one of the things that got me curious is that last year, I believe, was it last year? I think it might have been the year before, like, because since COVID, time is relative, kind of like in Lordran. But like, you played Demon Souls on PlayStation 5. That was the first time that you played Demon Souls.
Yes.
So tell us how that was. I mean, the videos are in his channel if you guys want to watch. Obviously, there'll be links in the description, all of that stuff. But I'm curious to hear from you now that you don't have the pressure of actually playing the game. What was it like the first time that you jumped into Demon Souls? Because this is a much older game. I believe this game came out in like 2007 or something like that in Japan, and then 2009 in Europe, something like that.
I mean, it was. I guess there was the benefit of the fact that because I had now played those styles of games, like I didn't go in as newbie as before, although I still did initially because I think I went in as a barbarian because I was like, I want to look like a cool person, and someone was like, put some armor on, you're going to die. I was like, okay, I'll put some armor on. So
let me tell you right now, the person who told you this is clearly not a Dark Souls player. You're fine without armor. You're fine. It's not a problem.
One is normally fine without armor. Me, probably not. Like I
need all
the help I can
get. You just told me earlier you dodge a lot. That's all you need. It's fine.
I did, but here's the thing. So I started to have to relearn this because in Demon Souls I would dodge a lot, but there's a lot of like narrow pathways in Demon Souls. And I going up like the wooden scaffolding. I rolled off there and I rolled to my doom and stuff. I was like, I need to slow down my rolling. So I started to actually start blocking more. So I had like a more of a methodical playstyle. But yeah, so this one was fun. I mean, like the game looks incredible. And again, like it kind of came out, I was sort of doing a few episode playthroughs and then I just haven't continued yet. Like it is the Soulsborne curse. Like I love these games. Like I play through and then it's just busy and it goes in the back burner and then haven't gone back to it. But I did the Tower Knight and then got completely like, if you guys ever see the video of that one, we did like one where like I recorded my playthrough and then the team watched my playthrough and reacted to it. So it's like a team react thing, and they were just like, "What is he doing?" Like there were just so many times I did some stupid stuff. But then I went on to fight the fiery spider boss, and I think I did it like 4 or 5 in like 4 or 5 tries, something like that, give or take.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it was about that. I didn't die many times. In fact, in my playthrough, what killed me more was that the game crashed as I was about to kill the boss the first time. And then I was like, I was recording and the screen went blue and I was like, it was, I would kid you not, it was 1 hit away from death. I was like, what the hell? But yeah, I mean, that one I really liked. I feel like it plays, I definitely feel like, I mean, I hadn't played the original to be able to sort of like say, but I mean, I would say that it definitely feels like
a modern
feels
game.
Fluid. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you're looking for like a way to jump in, I feel like that might even be like a good place to try it because it looks great and plays great.
So let me tell you that game actually plays extremely similar to the original. I think the biggest criticism that most people had was that they took quite a few liberties in remixing the original soundtrack, which, when you do something like that, and a lot of people already consider that the original soundtrack is perfect. I like it a lot. I didn't dislike the new one. I do feel like there were some tracks in the older one that I liked more, but it's like that was one of the biggest criticisms. That and some of the art style changes the mood of certain locations, because certain locations are supposed to feel like doom and gloom, but when you get the additional detail and the visual fidelity, then you don't feel as doomy and gloomy. Like, for instance, the Tower Knight in a lot of ways feels a lot more cheery almost, because he's got like a banner, there's some blue colors up. In the older game is like, no, here's this dude, big black armor, big badass shield, stomping on you. The weather looks terrible, there's no blue banners anywhere, and everything just looks like set up to kill you. But it's kind of like there are a couple of criticisms that you can make, but ultimately the game plays extremely similar to the original. And it goes to show that game would probably still stand the test of time, particularly with the improved visuals, because they've done here's a detail I don't know if you were aware, but like they wanted to preserve the feeling of the original game so much that, like, the backstab animation, it has the exact same number of frames than it would have in the old game, even though the animation is completely different. It lasts the same time that it would last in the older one to maintain the same feel. This is the level that Blue Point went to that I was just like, dude, that's really cool. This is crazy. Yeah. So that one is definitely a super solid one as well. Which one? So let me get this straight. You got Tower Knight, you got the spider. Did you die by the Vanguard Demon? The very first monster that you fight. The one with the axe and the big butt cheeks.
Yeah, I died. Yeah, I fought for a little bit, but then I was like, it's not happening.
Yeah. So they also kept like another Easter. It's not really an Easter egg, but you are able to kill that thing if you play well enough. And then they let you go and they let you like get a preview of a boss that you get to fight later on, which is like this super dragon, and then the dragon punches you in the face and kills you. So it's like you die either way. It's just like, you're just like you're approaching it and you're saying, oh my god, there's a big dragon there. Then suddenly the dragon goes like Falco punch. It's just like destroys your character.
That's amazing.
But out of those, go ahead.
I did also fight the weird slug boss with the shields on the side of it.
The Phalanx.
Yeah, which is funny because what was it? I went into that one without any items, and I didn't. So like, I think I can't remember what it was, but like the first time, I just I failed it because it was something that I couldn't. I can't remember what it was. There was something I didn't have that just made it really, really, really difficult. Like I was chipping away at like.
There's fire bombs and there's some stuff that you can spread on your weapon that makes it flamey, and then you can attack him with that.
I think it's probably one of those, because I was doing it. It was taking such a long time. I was like, I'm just gonna die and start again, and I picked up the items, and then that was just the easy one. But yeah, I think they're the only ones, because what's after the Phalanx? Is there any boss after that, or is that just?
After the Phalanx, you can go into the bridge with the dragon that shoots fire.
Oh yeah.
And
So
then
I think that was about.
And then you go into Tower Knight.
That's it. Okay, yeah. So Tower Knight and the Flaming Spider were the only ones I did then.
So out of those bosses that you've done, which one was your favorite?
Probably I feel like the Flaming Spider, just because I feel like that was again, Tower Knight does the kind of tutorial thing where it's like, actually in hindsight, when you look back at it, it's very, very easy. It's just that I was being an idiot. But I feel like the Flaming Spider is a really, really good, just like, it has so well telegraphed mechanics. It's like, oh, look, it's about to like do this, like run away, like the oil's coming towards you. And then you're like, oh, it's about to do these like things, and you're kind of like Ikaruga sort of dodging the things so you don't get spiderwebbed. And even just down to like reading the movements at the beginning, I feel like it's such a well telegraphed fight that once you actually overcome it, you're just like, yo, the mechanics in that are really good. So I like that one a lot.
Yeah, it's so let me tell you something, a couple of interesting stories about the first time I played Demon Souls, because I had a friend of mine who was kind of teaching me the ropes, and his idea of how to defeat the Tower Knight was hilarious. You know how he did it? We
No?
would go upstairs where there's
Oh.
the dudes with the crossbows. We'd kill them, and then he would like shoot magic at the face of the Tower Knight. And just like kill him like that. I eventually killed the Tower Knight one time like that, but with a bow. So I killed everyone with the things, and then I would come out with the bow, and I would shoot him with the bow from afar, which is terrible. Like it takes forever.
Yeah,
That's one of the ways of doing it. And then in the spider, because you probably never experienced world tendency events, because you never even got that far. Have you heard of world tendency?
No.
So Demon Souls has a mechanic which is whenever you die and you were alive, so whenever you had your soul, like after you defeat a boss, you get your soul and you get like your full health, right? Whenever you die and you're alive, the world shifts towards dark. Whenever you kill a boss, the world shifts towards white. But there used to be events, there probably still are, but there used to be events back in the old Demon Souls where they would just like change the shift of the world one way or another. And if the world would be like fully towards white, that part where you wanted to go get items and the dragons were there to burn you, the dragons wouldn't be there because the world tendency was fully set to white. And you'd be free to just go there and pick up all the items. And in there, because one time, like I said, I was playing, the event for pure white was going on, and I went there and there were no dragons. And I was like, oh, I can pick up all these items. And there's a shield in there that gives you like a ridiculous amount of fire resistance. So I was playing co-op with my friend. When we got to the spider, the way we did it is I just stood there with my big fire shield, blocked everything, and he stood behind me shooting spells, and we killed the spider like that.
That's amazing.
And there's some really fun stories like that. Have you ever done multiplayer in any of the Souls games or not?
No,
really?
not Souls specifically. No, because when I was playing through Dark Souls 3, I also wanted to make sure that I was like I want to defeat everything myself.
Yes.
So I did that, but the closest I had to that was when I played through Nioh 2. I played that entire game in co-op, and it was such a fantastic experience. So I played like the Soulsy experience in co-op, which I really like. Honestly, I think it's... if anything, actually, kind of going back to our discussion before, I feel like that is probably the answer to like easy mode, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, in Souls games, yeah.
Yeah, because honestly, like playing Nioh 2, like I played through that with Soxy Bear and like one of our friends as well, and we played like having the 3-player co-op. Like I would have, there's so many bosses that I just would have got stomped on, but like just having your buddies there to back you up, I feel like that's probably I mean it's been in the game for a while anyway, but that probably is the solution, right? That is your easy mode.
And Nioh 2 also has like the whole Diablo style loot system where you're constantly getting like all
crazy.
different. So it makes it very cool to just like play with your friends. I played most through it solo, which is not the best way to experience that game in my opinion, but it's still fun. But yeah.
So but not in Dark Souls I haven't, no.
So in Nioh 1, you've played it, but you didn't finish it, right?
No, I think I did. I want to say I got, I don't know, like a third, maybe half of the way through. But yeah, didn't finish that one. But then Nioh 2 fully completed.
But what stopped you? Was it like content, or because you had to work on another game or something? Because here's one thing that a lot of times like people will ask us, why didn't you play this game? Like I'm asking Arekkz now, why didn't you play Bloodborne? And it's like 90% of the times the answer is going to be content, because we have other projects that we have to dedicate our time to, and it makes it hard to... Like, that's the reason why I still haven't finished Persona 5, and I hate myself for it, because I really want to finish Persona 5. But you're talking about a game that now with the Royal, I hear it's like 150 hours of game. It's like, dude, I can't play 150 hours of a game that I can't do content on. That's insane.
That's the thing. I mean, it was genuinely, it was a content, like, again, something came out at a similar sort of time. And for me, because I haven't historically covered, like, a lot of the time, like massive coverage on Souls games. Like I might do like a little bit of gameplay here or do something fun, but because I don't have the extensive like Souls community knowledge, I've never been able to provide the same caliber of content that like I would typically be known for. Like I don't feel like I'm in a position to be like, I'm going to give you a guide on how to defeat this, because I'm not really the best player. I've dabbled in like a few things in the past to sort of like put out some content for things that I think people might find helpful based on like beginner points of view. But then for me, it's always been beyond that point. I'm like, I don't really have much to offer, so I tend to play the games just for me. And then when I have to play a game just for me, it has to be like when I've got time. So and then obviously because they are so, because I feel like as well with the Souls games especially, like because they're so punishing, like the more you play it, obviously you get that kind of cadence going. You kind of go into new bosses and you're like, all right, I feel this is good. But if you take like a few weeks off and you come back, then you're rusty for a bit. Like that experience is so tough. So I feel like if I'm going to finish them, I have to play them like uninterrupted.
It has to be in one go. There are several games that are like that. I would argue that even certain JRPGs is kind of like the same thing. So like for me, Xenoblade, for instance, it has to be in one go. If it's not in one go, it is very hard for me to go back to a Xenoblade game because you lose track of the story, you lose track of the combat, you lose track of like a million different things. It becomes super hard. But yeah, I can definitely understand why, it's hard. So Nioh 2, you've played it the entire thing in multiplayer, and that you enjoyed a lot, I would imagine.
Yeah, loved it. Like that was so much fun. It's hilarious as well because I'm really bad with directions, right? So like any of my friends will know me that it's just the saying. It's like, don't follow Alex, and it'll always be like, we'll be going the game, and they'll be like, which way should we go? I'll be like, this way, and then we'll invariably go and die. Or I had this really, really like special ability in Nioh to basically say something, and it would then happen. I'd be like, don't worry, guys, I've got this. I would then die. Or I'd be like, oh, watch out, guys, don't roll off the bridge. And I'd fall off the bridge. Or like, literally, it would, every time I would just say something that would invariably, like, suggest doom, I would just die straight to that. I was like, what is going on? It was, but yeah, there's some of the fights in that were crazy.
Yeah, that game is still a lot of fun. I still really enjoyed my experience. So which weapon did you main in?
So for the first half of the game, I mained the what was it? The big sword, like not the katana, like was it called the Tsuchigama or something? Or was that?
Oh no, the Najinata, I think.
Yeah. So I used that for a while, and then what did I switch to at the end? Oh no, and then at the end I discovered, right, because obviously I'm like, my playstyle is run headlong into danger and hope for the best. And then I found a build with a special axe that healed me, right? So I then switched over to Great Axe, where I literally just used to use heavy attacks, where it would be like hit, have huge chunks of health come back, and I literally, I didn't need any other moves. I basically just heavy attacked my way through the rest of the game. It was like, if people watched it, they were like, this is the most mind-numbingly boring gameplay. It's just like, roll. But I was like, this is great.
You have no idea how much criticism I got in Nioh 1 because that was essentially what I would do, because the game has all of these combos, but then it kind of like punishes you if you get too greedy. So it's like, look at this incredibly in-depth combat system, and now use it as sparingly as possible because we're going to punish you every time you step out of line. So like the first time I played Nioh, I'd just be going in big heavy attack with the axe, which there's that one where he hits once and then it hits again. He does like a double attack. It'd just be like that, then step back, wait for the monster to do something, go back in, and then come back. I did the same thing in Nioh 1.
That was literally me. It was great. In Nioh 1, I actually played with Kusarigama because I love them so much because they were such a cool weapon. But especially I found in Nioh 1, like, especially if you use like light stance, like you could get so many combos in. But and although it didn't do as much damage, it was a really safe way to play because you could just like combo people, like make them flinch and just dash in and out, and then rarely ever use stamina. So yeah, I like that a lot. But yeah, definitely this time around, like again, it's because I think back in the day when I used to play those games earlier, I would always be like, oh, I want to spec more into like the fast, agile play style, kind of like roguey thief stuff. And it's like nowadays I'm just like, look, I'm a tank. I just want a lot of health. I want to be able to do stupid stuff and not die for it. So basically, it's like health, stamina. I don't care about attack because I'll kill it eventually. That's me.
Okay, so that brings us over to Sekiro. What was the Sekiro experience like?
Oh, I love this game. It's so good. Like this, again, have to go back and finish it. I am about halfway through this one as well. Like this is just, I think like Dark Souls 3 and Nioh 2 are the only ones I've actually finished, basically, which that's why for Elden Ring, right? Because, we'll split coverage between the team anyway. And I'm like, Elden Ring I'm playing. The week it comes out, doesn't matter what else is coming out. I'm like, Elden Ring is going to be my game, and I want to finish this game, and I don't want it to go on the back burner. So it's going to be finished.
Somebody's not playing Horizon Forbidden West.
Somebody else is going to have to play Horizon Forbidden West on the channel, and I'm going to have to play Horizon later.
Okay.
No, I mean, I do want to play that as well, but like, it's just, it's going to be difficult. But I just know that like for Elden Ring, I'm like, if I don't carve out that time, and to be fair, I feel like I can probably finish Horizon in like I have no concept of how long it'll be, but it can probably be done in a few days, so maybe. But yeah, so Sekiro was like fantastic. Again, same kind of thing. First boss, I think it's the first boss, or like the first major hurdle for me was, of course, Madame Butterfly.
Oh, dude, I died so many times in Madame Butterfly.
I got destroyed.
Me too.
I was getting frustrated with that. I think I streamed that one as well. So, and that was, my frustration was nearly coming through even on stream for that one. But I finished that one.
See, that's the thing. You hold back. I know. I just let the chat have it. Like when I'm like, dude, this game sucks. I hate this. Like, I actually did that with Metroid Dread. People were upset with me. I'm like, dude, this double jump in this game is terrible. It was actually my controller. My Switch Pro controller is.
No, to be fair, really the double jump is really booky in that game because it's like if you can't double jump straight up, you have to double jump to the side.
Dude, people will cancel you on Twitter for saying that.
Hey, listen, right? Like, I said before, I love Metroid Dread is one of my favorite games I played this year. It's fantastic, but the controls in that game are a little bit funky to the point where they were like, we're going to map every single button, and when we run out of buttons, we're going to map directions and buttons, and then when we run out of that, we're going to map like hold directions and buttons. I'm like, I died to bosses more because I was trying to remember how to do a move.
Here's the thing. Let me tell you something. Final Fantasy XIV does controller. And in Final Fantasy XIV, to give you an idea, I have access to, let me just think real quick, 8:16, another 8:24. I have access to like 24 skills that I can do on a controller, and they're all actually, no, it's not 24. I'm sorry. It's actually 32. I have access to 32 skills that I can reach super fast, and I never have a problem reaching those skills, okay? So if I can map 32 inputs in Final Fantasy XIV and it works fine, I feel like Metroid Dread could have done a little bit of a better job.
Yeah, there were definitely a couple of times where I just kept on dying because of that. But yeah, I just still, before anyone gets angry, I love that game. That was my favorite this year. But yeah, it was but Sekiro, like I died to Man of Butterfly like so much, but then again, it kind of did the same sort of thing where like the first boss or the first major encounter in a Soulsy type game is normally my struggle point. And then after that, quite a few of them I went through pretty quickly. Even down to like the guy in the back of the horse or the back of the boar. No, the boar I killed straight away, and then the guy in the back of the horse that you fight in the big arena with the towers and stuff. Like he went down fast.
Did you play in Japanese or in?
I played in Japanese.
Dude, in English, when that horse guy comes in, it's the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. It. You need to go see that intro in English because he goes like, "My name is Koniwa, and you will not pass." It's something completely. It's so funny. Like you got to watch it because he basically screams out his name like you usually do in Japanese. My name is blah, 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 and you will not pass this game. It's so good. You really got to watch that.
That's amazing. I'll check that out. I definitely need to do that one. But yeah, that was cool. And then I got to I basically got as far as the midway point, which was fighting. What's his name? The guy that is ultimately the boss that you fight. You fight him midway through, and then you fight him again at the end of the game. The guy with like you fight him at the top of the tower, and he's got like the lightning sword.
I know who it is. Yeah. Yes. Did you beat him there?
Yeah. No, so I got because again I was streaming that one, so I got really close. I got to like final phase and got very very close, and then kind of just like ended the stream because I died quite a few times, and then that was basically the point where like I then had never gone back because that was again a content one. Like that one, what I was doing is I was streaming and then I was cutting up like super cutting it into like episodes, but then at the end I was like, they're not actually kind of doing too great. So I was like, I'll put that on the back burner.
And it's a weird thing with Sekiro because usually in my channel, like whenever a new Souls game comes out, I think that there was something, I don't know if there was something wrong with the algorithm, but I was also getting terrible views for Sekiro, which is why I ended up, I was streaming it on YouTube and then I ended up streaming it on Twitch and just uploading the VODs to a secondary channel. For my blind playthrough as well. So it's like Sekiro is actually the only game, and I'll have to fix that at some point, but it is the only game where there's not a full playthrough in my channel of the Souls franchise. The Souls franchise, because a lot of people, they don't consider Sekiro to be part of Souls, and that's a whole nother discussion. But yeah, so I don't know. There was something weird with YouTube and Sekiro where the content that I would usually do for these games would just not work at all. And I was like, I don't get it. I've always done this type of stuff for every Souls game, and on this one, it's just not working at all. So yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah. So, but that might be, the same reason why you were not having as much success as you were expecting from a playthrough of it, which is weird. Yeah.
Yeah, true. But yeah, so I left it there, and I was obviously always going to go back to it. But now knowing that the position I'm in, I'm now like, if ever I go back, I kind of just have to start again because I can't possibly go back to fight that guy. Like, if that is my welcome back to Sekiro like experience, that's gonna be a horrible time. So yeah, I'm gonna I want to go back to it because.
And I'll tell you right now that I think Sekiro. I mean, for you, it's like the two games of Souls that should gel with you the most would be Bloodborne because it's the closest thing to Monster Hunter in my opinion, and Sekiro because it's the closest thing to Zelda.
Yeah, and it's got a grappling hook, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a simple guy. If you got a grappling hook, I'm interested.
And that grappling hook comes into play in so many bosses. It's so brutally satisfying to use that grappling hook as you continue to play through the game. It's very good. Yeah, I
just
really
love the
enjoyed
movement in that game.
Yeah, the movement feels fantastic, and it's like it's one of the few games where you see those sometimes those animes where you see two dudes actually like crossing swords and you can kind of like feel the impact. I feel like no game has done that as well as Sekiro. Like you just like you actually hear the sounds and feel so visceral when you're trading blows with an enemy, and you just hear the swords clashing like tring, 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 tring until it eventually builds up and one of you loses the gauge and then the big finisher.
Yeah.
It's friggin' amazing. Yeah, no other game feels as nice at doing like katana blow trading as that one.
No, that was cool, and I feel like as well, like I mentioned before that I'm really bad at like parrying in the conventional sense, but like I was able to kind of manage that because again that system's like really important in Sekiro, or the kind of the equivalent of that, right? So because it was so important, I kind of had to learn. I managed to sort of get that down to a decent degree. It's still never something that I would do with confidence. Like I never go into parry with confidence. I'm always like, but maybe one day.
But yeah, it's like if I had to tell you which one, I definitely advise you to check out Bloodborne as like your next one. Although you're probably not going to have time to. Actually, I don't know. Before Elden Ring, I don't know because you're not playing 14, so you're going to have free time close to Christmas, I think. But you have to play Soul Sacrifice. Did you find your Vita yet?
Exactly. I haven't found it yet. You
haven't found your Vita yet?
Not yet. No. Like I think the problem is because I get all these stuff. They like get so much stuff. I have to like keep it in storage, and then I put boxes inside boxes inside boxes. So I think at one point I've like super organized my Vitas, but they're inside a box inside another box. So I'm not entirely sure where they are. I definitely wouldn't have got rid of them.
They're gone forever.
I will find it. I promise I will find it. But the thing is, I might wait because there's forever the rumors that they're going to do a Bloodborne remaster. So if that happens.
Yeah, I've heard rumors about Bluepoint potentially working on it, right?
Yeah, and I feel like that would be if that happens, that would be the perfect excuse to get halfway through it and then stop again.
Why don't you do it? I'll play it with you co-op if you want to. I'll play it with you co-op.
That would be great.
So that way, I'll make sure that you at least see most of the stuff in Bloodborne because it is really good. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
So I guess it's going to be Elden Ring soon here in November for us to check out with the thing. Which builds do you think you'd want to do for Elden Ring?
I'm still going to go lots of health, lots of stamina, and roll to victory, assuming I can do it. And I'm hoping that given that, like, I mean, you'll probably know better than me, like, was the whole, like, Norse mythology thing, like, a rumor that got debunked, or is that actually a prevalent part of what we know to be so far?
No, it's going to be prevalent. I mean, you're going to be seeing it in, like, bosses, and not just that, but you have, like, the big tree in the middle of the map and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's going to definitely be references to Norse mythology, but it's going to be one of those things that Miyazaki has his own interpretation that he puts on things.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be like a God of War thing where it's kind of like, oh, look, there's runes here. So it's Norse mythology, right? It's like, it's not going to be just that. He's going to do something completely crazy with it. And there's going to be like obscure references all over, the world and whatnot. Like I actually did a bunch of research. I don't remember most of it now, but I did a bunch of research for one of my videos where I remember specifically, a couple of things that I was like, oh, this definitely boils off in Norse mythology. This thing is related to that thing. So there are some things. I just don't remember all of them at this
point. Fair. Yeah. Well, hopefully they'll give me a giant hammer then, because then that would be a good build.
Oh, yeah, 100%. There's 100%. Because, like, and to give you an idea, in Bloodborne, there's this weapon called a Kirk hammer, which is basically like, it's a sword, but then, like, when you change the form, you, like, sheathes the sword inside, like, this thing that's basically a big hammerhead. And now it's a giant friggin' hammer. So it's like, awesome. If you want a hammer, I'm pretty sure they're going to have like some kind of two-handed hammer in there that's going to do you just fine.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Okay, but we're going to be wrapping it up here, guys. This was a conversation that I've been meaning to have with Arekkz about his experience in Dark Souls, and obviously we're both super hyped for Elden Ring. And the promise has been made. You're going to play Elden Ring all the way when that comes out.
Yes,
It's gonna
100%. And then we can have a discussion afterwards. Maybe we'll even have to play some co-op.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be good.
That'll be good.
But guys, there'll be links to all of stuff, Arekkz, in the description of the video so that you guys can check him out. The next thing that you're working on, what is it?
You put me on the spot now. I don't even know what's going on this. What's going on this week? I mean, I guess Lost Ark will be the next thing, like Lost Ark, and and there's also PlayStation.
Right, there's PlayStation. It's actually we're recording this on Wednesday, so it's actually later today. Even though the video is going to come out later, I don't know if maybe Friday, Thursday, or when exactly I'm putting this up. But we recorded this on Wednesday, and PlayStation is going to come up with some news. We'll see what that entails. Maybe the Bloodborne remaster. No, I don't like the hope for that. I definitely don't like the hope for that. But yeah, guys, make sure to check out all things Arekkz. We'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe. Peace out.
See you later.